Welcome back to the 1,000 Mile page. For this video we're going to be going over starts and sits. Isaac's going to be giving you quarterbacks and wide receivers. I'll be throwing up some running backs and tight ends for you. Two of each, two starts, two sits, and hopefully we can help you set your lineup before this Sunday and hopefully get you a win. Okay, so Isaac's first start is Bryce Young. The Dolphins allowed on average the second highest points per game opposing quarterbacks at 29.5 points. So Bryce should be able to step in and have a good game against the Dolphins there. And Bryce Young is looking for a bounce back. He's really fighting for his job right now. So hopefully this is a game where he can get established, get some points up, and you'll be happy starting him. Next up is CJ Stroud for the Texans. He's had a really rough year so far, but this is a game where he can really dominate and come back and maybe turn his season around. So I would definitely think about giving him a start, or at least looking at him, depending on who you got out. Like if you're missing Lamar this week, I would think about trying to get him in and seeing what he can do with this good matchup. Moving on to our quarterback sits for this week. Tua, he's also had a really rough year, and I don't think it's necessarily going to get better, especially this week. So you may want to sit him and try to explore other options this week. Another sit for this week is going to be Dylan Gabriel. I would not jump the gun with him. This is his first NFL game, and he is going up against a very tough defense in the Vikings. This is definitely an area I would seek to avoid. If you have other options, throw them out there for this week. Give it a couple weeks, and maybe Dylan Gabriel, we may be talking different about him here. But for this week, definitely explore other options. Kind of stay away from him this week. Speaking of the Browns, another set for wide receivers, however, is Isaiah Bond. He should be a good matchup, you would think, this week, being that Tillman's out. However, we don't like him this week. Reason being is because they are playing the Vikings, and the Vikings are a very good defense, and they are in fact the #1 defense against wide receivers. And you got your QB, who this is his first game as well. I wouldn't risk it this week. Give it a week. We may eat our words with this one, but that's okay. But leave him on the bench for this week. Come back to him next week if he does well. Our last set for this week is Emeka Egbuka. This is a bold one, and we may get some backlash for this one, but I agree. Isaac's got here that the Seahawks have allowed the third fewest points to wide receivers and have only allowed 2 touchdowns all year to wide receivers, and that's mostly where Egbuka's get his points from, is from touchdowns. And if he can't get one in this matchup here, he may be in trouble this week. So we have him down as a sit. Hopefully you have other options you can fill in for him. For our starts for wide receivers for week 5, we have Wan'Dale Robinson. Malik Neighbors is now out, and Wan'Dale Robinson is in. Another one you could also look at would be Darius Slayton. Either one of these two guys are going to go off. We like Wan'Dale Robinson a little bit better. Reason being is because of his floor. He's been reliable over the middle for sure. He's that go-to guy, and we think that he's going to be picking up some of those targets now that Malik's gone, and hopefully he has a bigger role. So slide him into your flex position this week, and you should be pretty happy with him. Moving on to our next start at wide receiver, it is Garrett Wilson. Dallas has allowed the most points to wide receivers, and this should be a very good game with him. Should be competitive. The Jets are looking to crack on that win column, and Justin Fields is hungry. He came off that injury and had a big game last week. I think he's going to try to retain that and do maybe even more. So look for Garrett Wilson to be among his top target again, and hopefully rack up some points for you. Moving on to my starts and sits, I will be covering the running backs and tight ends. My first start for running backs is Woody Marks. Woody will be going up against the Ravens defense, who has really struggled. They have been very bad against the pass and the run, which is kind of odd. It's more of they have just really injured right now. Once healthy, they should be back. However, Woody Marks this week is going to have a heck of a week. Like I said, the Ravens defense is allowing the most fantasy points at the running back position, and Woody Marks is coming off a big week last week. He's going to be overtaking that starting job, and he should have a heck of a game this week for you. Another start is Rachaad White, and that sounds really weird coming out of my mouth because last year I was a Bucky Irving owner and not preying on the downfall of Rachaad White, but I was kind of hoping for it, and that exactly happened. But no Bucky Irving this week. He is injured, going to be out, and Rachaad White is known for his passing game, and I think that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to be throwing more, especially to him out of the backfield. And he's hungry. He's probably ready to prove his point that he deserves touches, and he deserves to be in the backfield at least a little bit. He's wanting his job back, and I think this is a week that he may try to prove it. For my sits for running backs for this week 5, the first one I have is Chase Brown. He has looked awful this season, and ever since Joe Burrow went down, he's looked even worse. He just does not have the upside. He doesn't have the upside that you drafted him for, and I don't think it's going to be this week either because they are going up against Detroit, and it's probably going to be a blowout, and they're going to be needing to throw the ball a lot. So I don't see him being a good start for you this week. Another one, I'm just going to have to say the whole Washington backfield at this point. They're just so unpredictable. I mean, it's a 3-man backfield. Mostly 2. I mean, JCM and Chris Rodriguez are kind of their top 2 guys. You'll see McNichols break off for a big run every once in a while. He's done that once or twice this year, but really they aren't using him as a starting role. But they just take away from each other, and I don't see them doing anything for the next couple weeks until one of them just happens to stand over the other. But for now, just try to avoid all of them. The tight end position. Hopefully we got 2 more guys, one more breakout guy this week and another one to retain what he did last week. The first one being Theo Johnson on the Giants. He just came off of his first touchdown last week. And Malik Neighbors, he's done. He's done for the year. And like we talked about Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson is going to be a guy who hopefully gets some targets, gets some throws, especially over the middle. Hopefully he's a red zone guy. That would be nice to have a tight end who could be able to throw out there and hopefully know that he's going to be able to get a touchdown each week. Our last start is going to be Darren Waller. Tyreek is out for the year, and he had 2 touchdowns last week. Hopefully he can retain that and they can be a red zone target. Hopefully they can get down and throw him the ball. Our sits for tight ends, Mark Andrews, no Lamar Jackson. He's going to be gone for at least this week, probably next week, and then they have their bye the following week. So without Lamar, Mark Andrews might be a tough one to start, especially with Likely being back. Isaiah Likely's probably going to take a couple of those targets away. And then also it's just a bad matchup. The Texans allow the 6th fewest fantasy points to tight ends. So this is one week you probably want to sit Mark Andrews. Another sit, and I think this one is a little bit bold, would be Sam Laporta. If he does find the end zone, I could eat my words here, but I think Detroit just going to be way too far ahead against Cincinnati, and you have way too many mouths to feed in this offense. You have Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Monty, and Jameson, who's all going to be hungry for touches, and I think this is going to be a complete blowout. You're probably going to have second string coming in later in the game, and I just don't see Laporta getting enough targets in order to be that top 12 guy that you're expecting every single week. And the running game is just going to be, I mean, they're going to have to hand the ball off all the time after the second half, I would say. But I could eat my words on that one because Laporta is a guy that you're drafting probably pretty high and you're wanting to start, but maybe pump the brakes and hopefully you got somebody that you can either pick up or a backup that you feel confident enough that you can set them out there for this week. And those are our start sits for this week, for week 5. If you're watching this video, please give us a little comment to say what we can do better, or to say what you would like to see. We are definitely in the beginning of this. The graphics are not very good, but we will get better at that. But yeah, let us know what you want to see. If there's some sort of idea that you have that we can make videos on, or just ways to improve that would make you want to watch this a little bit more. But thanks for watching. Hoping to see you later. Have a good day. Good luck this week.